Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss the topic historical classification of old forests, and in this we have to describe the vegetation patterns or forest types from ancient ages uh, till the present or modern day forest types. First of all, we have to go with the type number one, that is Cambrian, Silurian, or Devonian era. Regarding this, various geological or tectonic movements and climatic changes result in the complex changes of vegetation on Earth, which result in the differentiation in vegetation types. So, first one we have here Cambrian, Silurian, Devonian era, and at this time vascular vegetation was absent during the very first stage, that was Cambrian era. However, it was reported for very first time during Silurian times. Amongst the vascular plants, coelophytes and primitive lycophytes were found in fossil forms from these rocks, Silurian rocks. At this time, great number of tectonic movements results in the formation of mountains, valleys, plains, lowlands, etc. However, at the this time, development of forest takes place in the coming Devonian era in the following manner. The Devonian era was recognized or categorized or understand by three subdivisions, and its first phase was Lower Devonian time, or at this time lowland fossils have been found from the rocks of this age, which indicate a fairly wide distribution of vascular vegetation during this time. It means कि at that time vascular plants were found at very initial stage or last stage of that first era. Further, during the Middle Devonian period, uh, we have noticed that entire world is believed to be dominated by different forest types. Lowland areas were dominated by anerophytons. Those were mixed with giant and branched protolepidodendrons, hyneids, coelophytes, and wide variety of phenopterids ferns. Those occurred in moist and swampy areas of this era, especially at or near or around lowland areas. However, towards the last stage of this Devonian era, the Upper Devonian time, uh, there was a gradual depletion of forest again due to geological and climatic activities, which result in the loss of some specialized groups, and high elevation areas were then characterized by extensive pinophytes forest with some pteridopsperms, those constituting the understories. So here the pteridopsperms means fern-like vegetation constitutes the understory, while pine forest of that time, those were known by pinophytes, were constituting the upper story at this time. Next, we have third phase of the historical periods, that was Carboniferous era, or by as its name indicate, the vegetation found here have some carbonated or hydrocarbon like material in them. It means they are trees. Let's go with the details or facts. The large number of lowland forest types were developed during this age. Carboniferous era, and these lowlands were characterized by heavy precipitation and extensive swamps, which result in the formation of erenchymatous tissues uh, in plants to help in air conductance. Erenchymatous means erenchyma or some parenchyma with some air cavities also. So those will definitely facilitate for air conductance. And examples were Ecugitopsids. Nowadays it is known by Ecugitifolia, uh, Casuarina ecugitifolia. That was known by Ecugitopsids at that time, and then lepidodendrids. Lepidodendrons are for nowadays, and these are some examples. Further, some carboniferous plants, those go through transpiration, were some pteridosperms and chordates. These chordates are the member of lowland pinopsid trees. Those gives rise fairly dense stand in the later times of this carboniferous era. Uh, on the other hand, some upland forests were comprised of pinopsids, which were soon developed into uh, the cycado conifers. Uh, uh, at the same time, in subhumid areas, cycadiotes occurs around 30-degree latitude, and semi-arid areas supports pteridospermous vegetation. Uh, However, some ferns or lycodendrids like species or pteridospermous like species are always found around swampy or moist or humid areas, but it was noticed in semi-arid areas also at that time. In the cold temperate region and on the slopes of mountainous areas, abundant forests were present, or I think these were especially pinopsids. Okay, lowland forests of the Carboniferous age have formed the extensive coal fields of today. So these, as I have started with Carboniferous era, so it means the vegetation of that time definitely have some hydrocarbonous material in them, or it means they are tree. So just revealed by this line, the coal fields of today means the coal and such type of resources are only formed uh, after this hydrocarbonation of the uh, dead material, dead trees, and be formed as petroleum resources or hydrocarbonated coal fields of present days. Now we move to next phase of this historical classification of forests, or this one we have Permian era, the third phase. uh, and at this time climatic conditions and vegetation patterns was almost similar to the last phase of Carboniferous time. However, this pattern was disturbed uh, uh, due to activation of fresh glaciation that brought with marked change in the climate and vegetation at that time. Prominent species of Permian time were modern form of ferns, cycads and cycadiotes. Are among these, cycads and cycadiotes were more common. Ginkgos, the true conifers, also named by true conifers, and early taxodes become abundant in lowland and mountainous areas. Further, pteridosperms were also prominent at this time, and it is widely believed that most of the forest forms were changed into modern pattern during Permian age only. Next, we have the fourth phase of this historical classification as Triassic Jurassic era, or during the last stage of Permian time. A great number of glaciation activities, as indicated in last page also, uh, resulted into dwindling of the forest vegetation, or which result in the resulted climate was more favorable for vegetation of that time. The cycads and cycadiotes in the desert areas However, in the last page, I have seen that it was semi-arid areas, but here after that glaciation or dwindling of forest or climate change, it becomes now desert of that time of Triassic time, and saccades and saccadeates in desert areas during Triassic, and abundant pinopsids forest were present in later part of this era, that was Jurassic era. Next, at the fifth stage or step, we found Cretaceous to recent times of historical classification of world forest. At this time, it was considered as the prelude to the present day vegetation or forest types. At this time, some magnoleopsids and broad-leaved pinopsids occurred in frost-free and warm temperate areas. And by the end of Cretaceous, almost all the genera of magnoleopsids had developed. And another ice age occurred during Pleistocene era, uh, which result in the migration of great number of species towards south, which moved again towards north in the present era. And finally, we have modern era or present era, in which we have modern type of forest forms, or the following forest zones or localities have been recognized as per the modern age of the forest types. And number one of them is polar zone. It is south and north pole, we can recognize by nowadays as Arctic or somewhat like that. Next, we have temperate forest zone, then arid and semi-arid zone, then we have a subhumid transition zone, and at fifth point we have frost-free forest zone, and last was tropical forest zone. So these are the present day or present era form of forest of as the last part of historical classification of forest. And hope you all understand the the material or text or discussion I have mentioned here before you. Thank you.